started out with an MD here in 1991 and then went on to do my family medicine training in Toledo. And pretty much was in private practice since 1998 and was doing a parallel pathway with private practice and hospital leadership. So I was a chief of staff, a department chair, a peer review chair, all of those things. And I topped out in the leadership space. I was looking for a bridge that would be a credible bridge into academia. This was an opportunity for just to dive in with deep concentration into a space and hopefully come out the other end a well-educated educator. Here I was, I had a pre-college student and, she was in high school. She'd be going to college soon. And I absolutely did not want to have 2 sets of tuition to pay for. And so I had to make the case to my institution that this brand spanking new program was going to help me as a leader in the work I did for them every single day. They said, sure, that sounds like a really good idea. And so they paid for a third of it as well. I looked at the University of Illinois as my main sort of gold standard program. And really the problem was that, I'd have to be in person several days a month. That was just not a tenable thing for me to do. Additionally, it wasn't competency-based, and I was very interested in that novel approach. I am not one for false workload. If I've already done something, I'd like to get credit for it in some sort of vein. And, I wanted this program to be worth it for me. So I was able to actually align with a lot of the leadership competencies, the EPAs that were already in the program. I really ended up digesting information because I had to also then teach it. That was one of the rules that I made for myself. It's like, you learn it here, you have to know it well enough to teach it to people who are sophisticated learners like faculty. My mentor and I needed to stay tethered to each other. I think that was really important, especially with adult learning. You've got such a busy life. It's like, okay, regardless of whether anything happened in these next 2 weeks, we need to reconnect and just say where we are. So she kept my eye on the ball, when some of those times were really busy. When I entered the program, I was a program director. I had a single program. I had 18 residents. Within a year of being done, I had transferred that program between competing institutions. I ended up not just being a program director, but I moved on to support 102 program directors with 700 residents and fellows. And now I support the entire medical education mission here at University of Michigan. I can speak the language of medical educators. I think knowing the difference between assessment and evaluation is important. These types of things. I'm well versed in medical education theory and fundamentals. I have stepped into a network of medical educators with competence, and my scholarship really has sort of started to be tailored to medical education. I was sort of, ready to hunker down and have my head down and learn some stuff, which I did. But I also developed these wonderful friendships with like-minded souls. Besides medical school, the investment in my future has been unmatched. I walk into the University of Michigan's dean's office every single day. That is where I'm sitting right now. I do not take a single minute for granted. And as the chair of my department said, I am also the highest ranked family physician in the history of the medical school organizational structure, as well as the first Black and the first female senior associate dean of medical education here at Michigan. I think, I was in the maiden class for this program. Being in the first cohort always offers challenges because you're the first substrate for the assessment tools of the program. On the other hand, there were so many opportunities to shape what that program looked like. And I think, you have to be comfortable with a little less structure, I think. This is definitely learner guided as far as the pace and the things that you focus on, the areas that you want to pick up. And the faculty are really a supporting role. They have a supporting role in the space. And if you're not a learner who's ready to step up in and lead in that space, it can be difficult. It can be challenging. The MHPE program can be the gift that keeps on giving. You truly get out of it what you put into it. There has to be intrinsic motivation to do it well. And if there's not, it can be difficult, I think. to keep the pace, to not be distracted by the shiny objects in the rest of your life, either at home or at work. I am beyond grateful to be an alumna and will continue to flourish in my career because of the skills, knowledge, and behavior I learned with a brilliant group of learners and mentors